My name is Marcell Hanson, and you're listening to Small Habits, Big Changes. Let's dive in. Welcome to this week's episode. Thanks so much for joining me. If you've been around at all over the last year that we've dropped episodes each and every week, you have heard of my stable table, which is based on adequate hydration, daily movement, which I like to think of it now as hourly movement, nutritious meals, and quality sleep. If you have those four pillars of wellness on your focus, on your plate each and every day, and you are holding intention to better those ingredients, maybe 1 degree, maybe 1% each and every day, then you may be asking, like, what next? You may get anxious about what next, get excited about what my stable table holds in store for you. And honestly, all of your future successes and achievements are firmly predicated in how well you take care of yourself. You may receive accolades or acknowledgments or recognition for what you're doing, but it won't hit home the same way as it does when you're in great shape, when you feel great, when you're full of energy, when you can take in what is yours for the taking, if you will. But what other things can we focus on once we have a little bit of a grasp on my stable table? There's 3 things I want to touch on today, and they are big. And I think this is why people fail and give up in these categories and in these actions, is because without a firm foundation, without a spiritual connection, without a greater purpose, without my stable table, it is virtually impossible to maintain any consistent action around emotional regulation, state management, and the 3 things that I'm going to share with you right now. The first one that I'm going to share with you is essential to our vitality, to our life, to our being in this physical realm. The second is essential in raising your level of consciousness, enlightenment to some degree. And the third one just makes life more amazing, minute by minute. So good. So the first one that I'd like to share that you can start to implement and put in your path of what to do once you have got good traction going with my stable table is your breath work. It's as essential as all of life as we know it. Each and every one of us takes a breath in and out multiple times a minute, probably 12 to 20 times. We have respirations each and every minute. If we're meditating or focusing on our breath work, we may only have 2 to 3 breaths per minute. But you can go, in fact, a friend said this to me today, just bumped into him, and he said, you can go a long time without food. People have gone years, in fact, without food. There's someone I know of through someone else who is like 400 days without food, right? You can go a long time without water in the right context. Definitely a couple days. Can't make it more than a few minutes without breathing, without inhalation and exhalation, respiration. Unless you're unique and you're diving or you're doing something particular, like an intense, like Wim Hof breath work, maybe you'll get 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes. You're not going to live more than 10 minutes without breathing. We need oxygen for so many things. Our tissues, our blood, it's the basis, the core elements, if you will, of our sustenance. And the more we can focus on it, deepen it, strengthen it, our capacity to restrict it and increase it within control is essential. Breath work is key. It will help in all areas of your life. Going into a tough meeting in the workplace, focus on your breath. Doing a hard workout, challenging, lifting weights, resistance work, plyometrics, any sport, focus on your breath. You want to connect with someone else? Synchronize your breath. You want to pray, you want to manifest, you want to increase your vibration, raise your frequency, focus on your breath. You want to have more peace, more balance, more joy in your life, focus on your breath. Become one with that breath, as hokey and woo-woo as it sounds, and you will be a happier person. You will be literally more alive. Number 2 is listening. Not only listening to what's going on around you, the voices that you need to listen long enough to know not to listen to, but the voice within you, that still small voice that may be getting stronger and bigger and louder, listening to that and also discerning what you should and shouldn't listen to. And that's only for you to decide. They say you have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so you should be listening twice as much. Right? Listening will bring a level of peace. Talking couldn't even touch with a 10-foot pole. Try it. The third thing could be deemed a double-edged sword because it does come with a lot. There's no downside to focusing on your breath. It's all upside. There's very little downside to listening more than talking. Yes, you may get the criticism of that you don't talk as much, but that's not really accurate. You may just choose your words differently and speak more poignantly if you have more time to listen and you spend more time listening. The third thing is awareness. So becoming more aware is a blessing because with awareness comes, a realization of just how blessed we are. So it comes with a lot of blessings, a lot of eye-opening opportunities. Awareness is very special in that way. And self-awareness allows us to grow and optimize and fine-tune and tweak what we want within ourselves. It also comes with something that needs to, in some instances, be filtered in the awareness of others and their strong points, their shortcomings, their characteristics. Sometimes that awareness can turn into something that can prove a net negative if you don't control it. And with that, I want to say that you can be aware of something and not engage with it. And you can be aware of something and not have judgment. You can be aware of someone else's behavior or someone else's story or someone else's challenge and not have to participate in their journey. So awareness is a little tricky. I think we'll get into it a bit more in and of itself. It could fill a couple podcasts. If you're looking for ways that you can establish lifelong healthy habits, My Stable Table is the way to start. Mastering, and by mastering, I mean you're mastering them day to day. They change, context changes them, but they need to be a priority. You are focused and successfully executing daily hydration, hourly movement, nutritious meals, and quality sleep. You have routines around those that support those people in your life that understand where your priorities lie with those. And once you have a pretty good grasp on it, you can actually tackle these 3: breath work, listening, and awareness. You can tackle them so much easier. If you are struggling with the foundation, take a step back just to see. It's obvious that you cannot build a first or a second story without a foundation in a building, for instance. It will become obvious, hopefully after this episode, that you cannot build a strong sense of awareness, a great aptitude and ability to listen, as well as focus on your breath. Those 3 things are very, very unlikely to become consistent in your life if you're not managing the basics, the 4 physical wellness pillars. So that's it for today. I want to close with a percentage, with a statistic that, like most other statistics, is completely made up. But I like to think of it as the 65 plus 30 plus 5 equals 100. So 100% of the population, what I'm applying these percentages to. In my experience and in my belief and what I see from day to day is that 65% of people are okay with where they're at. They are experiencing struggle. They experience highs and lows like everyone else. They are not interested in raising their standards, in striving for more. They're okay where they're at. They're content. There's nothing wrong with that. It is for that 65%. Then there's 30%, which probably nearly all of you fall into, that are wanting to better themselves, wanting to optimize, wanting to be more efficient, more loving, more connected, more at peace, more thoughtful, more aware, more able to experience the joys of life freely and to feel authentic within yourself. That's where 30% of you land. There's 5% of you that might have been in the 30% at one point. You definitely are an optimizer. You want more out of life. You have a high level of thrive. You have a high level of energy. You're consistent and you execute. 30% will listen to podcasts, read books, join workshops, have mentors and coaches, and they know a lot about maybe a lot of things, maybe what they want to do or should do or what feels right to them. They know. They have lots of methods and processes and rules and guide sheets to live by. They probably have a whole bunch of self-development books on the shelf and magazines and podcasts that they've subscribed to. And without those people, we would have nobody thinking outside the box. Probably no entrepreneurs, no risk takers. I mean, that 30% is almost everybody that's listening right now. And it's an important group of people, if you will. That 5% are very similar to those 30, except they are overachieving. They are overzealous. They are probably obsessed with reaching their goals, whether they're physical, mental, financial, spiritual. They are go-getters. They have books on the shelf and they may listen to podcasts, but they execute on what they hear. They share the news they hear. They research it themselves. They see if it's a fit for themselves. They go those extra steps to see if it's right for them, and then they implement and they go. And they repeat that each and every day, each and every week, every month. There's a ton of growth happening in these individuals. If you want to be one of the top 5%, and I say top because more than likely that's where you see those people. They are on top of the world. They are financially successful. They are, they may be great at what they do and have a really particular skill set. They may be someone you never ever meet, runs a local laundromat or runs a small business or is a contractor, and they're just touching the lives of people that they meet each and every day. And you might not be one of those people. It's not to look down on the other 95%, but it is how we tend to structure things. We tend to structure things relative to other people. And it's hard to have this conversation or to share this without also putting that into that framework. However, I always think of, I definitely am in that top 5%. I'm probably in that top 0.01%. But I'm not comparing myself to others. I have high standards, and every day they do increase. Every year, I'd say they increase. And every day I'm focused on having less and less expectations of others. But for myself, my standards are very high, and I'm not willing to compromise and don't really care what anyone else says or what works for other people. Now, if you're in that state, you may not be listening to this podcast. You may just be executing away. But for the 30% of you that are listening, that want to be in that 5% or want to simply thrive within the 30% that you're in, execute on these and let me know how they go. These are hacks, if you will, that have worked for me for the better part of 30 years, but I'm always learning. I'm always implementing new things. And I love to hear it when it works or doesn't work for someone else, because there are 100 different methods that would work. If someone else gave me a different method that was workable, I could probably make it work. Oftentimes, it's the operator that is making the call, whether or not it's a working protocol or not. If it doesn't work for you, it doesn't mean it doesn't work for others. It just may mean it doesn't work for you. So leave a comment, send a message, join our texting community. You can send me a private message there. Let me know how you get on. Until next time, stay strong and be awesome. Thank you so much for listening today. If you feel any part of this episode resonated with you, then please consider sharing it with a friend who may also find value. And remember to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And before you go, did you know we have a fantastic free text community? If you want more bite-sized health hacks and reminders delivered directly to your phone, absolutely free, then text keyword YES to 206-483-2960. Again, that's keyword YES to 20483-2960. And we'll see you on the inside.